I've been working my whole adult life. My first job was at 16 for Burger King, and from there I graduated to DHL throwing boxes around. My last job was for a foundation trust within the NHS. I was leading a department, so it was a very good senior position. I've always worked hard. I think working is an important facet of life, and I think idle thumbs are the devil's workplace. So I'm happier working, being productive, and I've never been happy just sitting at home. The problem was the higher up the hierarchy I got in the working world, the more problems I started to see, including the commute. Most people have a 2 hour commute, which is a grudge every day. The other thing is the politics at work. So sometimes you get embroiled in these politics even though you don't want to, and they can really be a massive source of psychological stress. And then the third thing is that there's more and more stress in the workplace in terms of the actual workload, now more so than it's ever been. My first slap in the face was working in Oxford when my manager, who'd never taken a day off in 15 years, went on holiday, got an incurable condition, and when she tried to work, she wasn't physically able to work any longer, and she asked to have reduced hours to go part time. And what she was told by management was that either she quits and takes medical retirement, or she gets a demotion, but she can't keep her position. I thought, 15 years never taking a sick day, she gets sick, and this is how they repay her. I thought, if that's how they treat her, what hope does someone like me have? And I thought, if that's how they treat her, how would they treat me if I got sick or if something happened to me? I felt like just a number. Once I had kids, it got even harder. Although I love my kids more than anything, juggling family life, work life, running a household, I mean, it's tough. Something had to give. So either it was going to be my health, my family life, my relationship with my wife, or my job. And I thought, And although I would have rather have given up the job at that point and focused on the other stuff, I had to pay the mortgage, so I didn't have that choice. So unfortunately, I had to sacrifice being present with my kids. I had to sacrifice spending time with my spouse and family, and I ended up not being as good of a son, husband, and dad as I wanted to be. But I had to pay the bills. In order to try and juggle everything, I slept less, had coffee more often, or started drinking coffee. I bathed less, something I'm not that proud about. I cut out things that I actually enjoy and I wanted to do, like rock climbing and fun things and exercise. And even though I cut all these things out, the times that I was with my kids, I was still exhausted from having to be at work and then look after the kids. So the time wasn't that well used. Often I just want to put them in front of the TV so I could have a break for a few minutes and maybe just close my eyes and go to sleep. At points I was in such a state that I'd be getting palpitations, feeling kind of sweaty and clammy, and that was probably because I hadn't exercised. I was drinking way too much coffee and I was depriving my body of sleep and rest, and I just was exhausted. I used to wake up in a panic thinking, am I late for work? And then try and rush out the door to get to work and commute for hours and then come home after all of that and doing the reverse of that and then look after the kids. And I just needed a way out. I wasn't happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like this is the purpose of my life and I could see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I really wanted something to change. I didn't want to just spend my life working for the sake of paying the bills and earning money. And it felt like I was only working to earn money. Because if I had a choice at that point, I would not have been working. When I was at work, I used to watch YouTube videos of inspirational talks by Steve Jobs, and he's got this talk about how life isn't a box, it's a living entity, and you can poke it and prod it and change its shape, and it's up to you to engineer your life the way you want, and you can do anything and create the life that you want. And I used to think, well, that's really good in theory, but I've got bills to pay and a mortgage to pay and a family to look after, and I can't just quit work and be ambitious and go on this entrepreneurial journey. And I did do stuff. I wrote ebooks, I sold on eBay, I did trading. But when I worked out how many hours I was putting in, what I was earning back was pittance based on how much time it was taking. And I would have just been better off working for a fast food restaurant in terms of my hourly rate. It just wasn't, it wasn't a viable business option. And because I was dissatisfied, it meant I wasn't a good husband, I wasn't as good of a dad, and I wasn't as good of an employee or anything really. I wasn't much good to anybody. Fast forward to now, and I can truly tell you I'm happy. I have a great family life. I have loads of time. I work when I want to work. I earn good money. I'm able to support my family and not worry about how much it's going to cost to do stuff. And all of this has been provided because I took a risk and I took a chance. Someone presented me with the same opportunity I'm presenting with you today. I did my research. Being the person I am, I did a lot of research and I went for it. And now, a couple of months in, I'm not looking back. The future's looking bright. I'm doing really well and I want to help other people do well too. I want to enable other families to have a life where they're not bound to a workplace. They don't have to do a commute. They don't have to leave their kids in childcare or with somebody else or be with them when they're shattered. They can work around their own times. They can work from wherever they want as long as they've got an internet connection and they have no overheads, no traditional costs of running a business, no staff, and pretty much no risk. Look, last week, me and my wife thought, let's take my son away for a couple of days and let's just go somewhere. And we planned a trip with a couple of days' notice. We had the most amazing time, and I got to deepen my relationship with him. We had conversations that we never would have otherwise had being at home in our normal routine. And we didn't have to worry about money. We didn't have to worry about calling our boss and asking for annual leave and seeing if it's okay and any office politics. And it was just an incredible experience and it's going to shape us for the rest of our lives. And we're going to have a lot more of those thanks to this opportunity. And I want to be able to provide that for other people too. My request for you is that I'm looking to grow my team, and if my story resonates with you, then click below and let me get in contact with you and let me help you have a similar story that you can share with a few people a few months from now. I now earn more from my part-time job than I did my full-time job, and I can work from whenever I want, with whoever I want, at whatever time I want. And I want to be able to help other families have a similar story that they can go on to share with others and inspire others. I'm looking to grow my team. If this story resonates with you, click below and let's get started.